All right, this one's gonna be a little different just because I'm like thinking about it on the spot and thinking about games um, that some people like, and again, some people don't like uh, that are in my camp. Like they're that would be like, oh yeah, I agree with that, but I can't think of many. It's like. Yeah, I can't think of many who like would dislike some of these games, but at the same time, I feel like there's plenty who would be like, "Oh yeah, I agree with that." So right off the bat, I didn't really like. I didn't really like Grand Theft Auto 5. These are all games that like I played that I didn't really enjoy it or whatnot. So this is again something where it's like it has to be a game that I played. Like it can't be a game that I looked at and it just wasn't for me, like just from the looks of it, because that's not giving it a fair shake. I have to play it for at least a few hours and just so really Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2, it was just a little too much for me, like, to wrap my head around. I know that might sound simple-minded, like I don't have a big brain, but there's just too much going on, and I'm just not a huge open world guy as is. So when I was trying to get into GTA 5, I remember that I cut it the day it came out with my buddy who played, San Andreas and 4 a lot. But Witchcall just was not my cup of tea. I didn't really get the humor. I didn't really get the, even GTA 4, like I liked, but it wasn't, I didn't play it nearly as much as any of my friends did. And that's what really, this list kind of consists of, are these games that I knew people who played, who absolutely loved them, but I just didn't necessarily get into them. So to say if any of these are overrated is, I don't think that's the case. I also have a much easier way to wrap my head around games and their novelty and their fixture on what they can accomplish over what a movie can accomplish. So I may be a little harsher on movies than I am on games, because games can really just waste your time in good ways. They can be complete time suckers. But yeah, I would say GTA 5 and Red Dead 2 just weren't. I liked Red Dead 1 a lot, and I liked kind of the simplicity of it. And I like the simplicity of GTA 4 as well, even though they were complex. I just can't dedicate that time to games really anymore. So I think that has to do something with it too. So and again, these are games that I don't see myself playing in the future. So this list isn't really exactly overrated. It's just games that I won't see myself playing after giving a chance. I don't know what that guy was doing. That was terrible. That was absolutely terrible, bro. So that's more what this list is. Or I beat them and I don't see myself ever playing them again, and I kind of see, the excellence. Red Dead 2, I definitely see the excellence in. But yeah. Number 4 would probably be The Last of Us. This one I do understand. Again, I got this day of when it came out, and I was super excited to play it. I was super excited. I remember when it was announced. Whenever it was announced, and I'm pretty sure that it was announced kind of on the idea of the cordyceps. with the ant and Planet Earth. And I remember watching Planet Earth and knowing about the cordyceps and being like, oh, that's pretty cool. They're making like a game based off that. I was like, I wonder how that's going to be. And then they were saying, modern times, and I was pretty interested. I mean, I was very intrigued by the whole idea of The Last of Us. It definitely sold me on it. I got it later on, like the day it came out. I got it. I had my uniform on from AT or drill. It was very embarrassing. I try not, when I was in, I try not to go anywhere in my uniform, just because I don't think it's a good look. I think you can change and then go somewhere, especially if it's somewhere non-urgent. So I showed up in my uniform. I got the game. I came home. I had my buddies over that weekend, and we beat it all. But I was really expecting something different than what it was, and I think that was kind of on my part, like my fault. I don't really know what I was expecting. I did love the multiplayer. My buddy got me into it, and I was a huge fan of that. And yeah, I truly liked a lot of aspects of The Last of Us, but I don't understand how high someone puts it compared to what I would do, put it somewhere. It's not one of my favorite games. But again, if you heard my favorite list of games, you'd probably be like, really, that you're gonna fucking talk shit about this game, and then you have that game on your list. So lists are kind of just fucking dumb things anyway. But I like to hear about that. But no list is definitive. No list is this is the list. Even if you're, a creator of games, you're gonna have blind spots and biases. It's just natural human beings. So, I put that there. Number 3, I probably put the Call of Duty series. I got into Call of Duty 3 for the 360, and I really liked the stupidity of Call of Duty 3 on the 360. And it didn't take itself serious, and it wasn't ranked heavy and multiplayer heavy as far as getting stats and getting the best kills and everything like that. And you could also play Call of Duty 3 4-player split screen online, and I don't really remember too many games that allowed that. So when I had my buddies over, we played the shit out of multiplayer and just complete trolled, and I have a lot of fond memories with that. And then Call of Duty 4 came out, the whole gaming landscape changed, and ever since, I never even beat a Call of Duty story. I just never found the intrigue in them. But I mean, Call of Duty is one of the biggest games out there. It's got a lot of haters. It's got a lot of lovers. Used to have a lot more passionate fans, but since it's kind of fallen off, and I do understand why, and I think that it needs to end. But I would feel that same way about many games. So, number 2 is Rainbow Six Siege. I gave this game a fair chance, but multiplayer games usually will, be the games that I'm usually it's the most overrated, or the most annoying, or the fan base ruins it, or the tryhards ruin it, and the trash talking ruins it. It's just very toxic. Gameplay wise, I was used to Rainbow Six Vegas, so that has something to do with it too. I think Vegas had better gameplay. Nobody wants to hear that. Siege is the best. But I thought Rainbow Six Vegas, even playing it today, I'm like, dude, this game's a blast. Still to this day. So yeah, I was not a big fan of Siege, even though I really was hoping to be, because I love Vegas. I was really hoping that this was going to be my multiplayer game that and it ended up being Overwatch, which is silly now because Overwatch is kind of a piece of shit now. But back in the day, Overwatch was pretty cool, but very kind of cringe when I think about playing Overwatch. I dedicate too many hours into that, and Rainbow Six Siege could have been that game, but I'm happy that I'm just not playing any multiplayer game. That's good by me. So, number one is a game that I tried to like. I randomly got the collector's edition instruction, like the game guide. I was at GameStop, and they were like getting rid of stuff, and the guy was like, "Do you want this?" And I was like, "Sure." And it was God of War 2018, which, you know, is gonna definitely ruffle some feathers. But again, it just has to do with me playing the old ones, and then the new one was just such a different leap into something that I don't think they should have done with, like, hello? That was weird. Was someone listening to me the whole time? What the hell? But, yeah, 2018 definitely is the game that I wish that I could like, and I wish that I could see what other people see in it. And I think for a game being its own game, I think that maybe you could be like, yeah, this is a good game. But I was such a God of War fan that I just felt so disattached from 2018 and the direction that it went. I just think that some things should end and not keep going. And 2018 was kind of a prime example of like continuing a narrative when I really don't think that it really needed any continuation. I thought God of War 3 ended the games perfectly, but they couldn't let go of a fucking cash grab, and you know, it's pretty disappointing just because right around then is when I kind of discovered like games do that, movies do that, TV shows do that, where like it should just end at some point or some part, but then it's just like, we need the money, you know, we need to get people jobs. I totally understand. You know, most mediums do it. They just should end, but then they continue. You know, I was saying this about Sex and the City. You know, my wife loves that show. The original series, even though it's a little dated, and parts are, you know, can be a little off or whatnot, I think that it gave HBO a huge female audience and did a great job with that. But then, and just like that came out, they should have just called it Sex and the City, you know, just don't try to market it a different way and give it it's Sex and the City. And it was just a piece of shit show. It was one of the worst shows I've ever watched. And 2018, I don't think it has that shittiness to it, but it's just as someone who like thinks that things should end, I just think that they should have made a different, like, not put Kratos in it and not connected to the fiber of, and with such a different tone and direction. It just felt very strange to me that they continued that series in that way. And my little brother likes it. My brother's boyfriend likes it. I know plenty of people, they absolutely adore that game. But I beat it, and then I was like, I really had to push myself to beat it. I just was not amazed at any point in the game. And then when I beat it, I was like, I'm never going to touch that game again. But yeah, that's my list. Again, I hope you liked it. This one would definitely be a list that you know, I don't think that many people would be like, oh yeah, that list was incredible. I'm totally in love with that list. But yeah, again, it's just something that I'm just kind of talking about. You know, if you liked it, you liked it. If you didn't, then I totally understand. But yeah, as always, I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next time.